People think that van life is all rainbows and sunsets, but today is a chore day, so welcome to a very average and normal day in my van life.
Come inside. Get blown away. I need to take off this tripod thing. Woo! God, it is blustery out there today. Right. Today I thought that I would take you with me on a bit of a sort my life out kind of day. Essentially, I have this really long list of jobs to do that are very important, because if I don't do them, then it's basically not a very comfortable time here living in this bus. So they are essential. Also, I have a little visitor. Hang on, let me reveal. Can you see? It's my mother. Hi, Mom. Obviously, Winnie. Win. Okay, well, we better get on with it, really, because the day is getting away from us.
So today I find myself parked up in the Yorkshire moors, which is, I have to say, a very beautiful spot. And one I've actually been to before, although on previous occasions I was entirely alone up here. And today, well, there seems to be quite a lot of us, which is lovely. Slightly less remote than I planned, but you know, still lovely. Anyway, if you don't know me, I'm Josie, and I live full-time in this Mercedes Vario minibus, and I have done for nearly 2 years now, which feels slightly surreal to say out loud. I converted it myself, which at the time felt like a very good idea, but in reality it's involved quite a lot of learning.
So annoying.
But despite all of that, I do seem to have settled into this way of life. Which brings me to today, because today is a chore day. All those little necessity, deeply and glamorous jobs that oddly no one seems to include in their highlight reel. And we're starting rather strongly, because I've just stepped outside and discovered I have a flat tyre. Which really is not ideal. Good news is I do have breakdown cover. Bad news is there appears to be absolutely no signal here whatsoever. But don't worry, I did eventually manage to get through, and soon enough help was on its way. So lesson of the day, if you're thinking about van life, decent insurance and proper breakdown cover is absolutely essential.
Smell it though?
No. Oh yeah, that's probably one of us smells things when we come in.
Seatbelts. Keys would be good. Don't know where the keys are. Where are the keys? Oh my god, where are the keys? You got it.
Note to self, never wear these trousers again while filming. They give me a serious saggy bottom.
Oh yeah, hang them up. How clever of me. Oh, well done. Hang them up in their hanging up place. That is very organised. Ready? Winnie, you ready? Good start, good start. Right, off we go.
So I need water and diesel. Diesel is easy enough to come by, but water is always a bit more of a mission. I usually check the app Park for Night to find places to fill up for free, but of course, no signal. So the plan is to head into town, fill up with diesel at a petrol station, and then see if they happen to have water there as well. So while I'm filling up with diesel, which is always a slightly painful experience, I thought I'd answer one of the questions I get all the time. Does Bo the bus absolutely drink all the fuel? And yes, she does. You're not wrong. Which is why I travel quite slowly and tend to stay in places for at least a few weeks at a time. Because if I didn't, I would be bankrupt almost immediately. For context, I've been living on the road now for 2 years, and so far I've only travelled the UK and Ireland. Partly because realistically I just can't afford to go much further, and partly because I've been figuring out this whole solo female van life thing and didn't really want to stray too far from home. The UK itself is only about 600 miles top to bottom, station, which does make you realise how small it is in the grand scheme of things. But despite that, Bow the bus can still get through a surprising amount of fuel, which is why, for me, slower travel has just made more sense. And on the whole, what happens if you run out of fuel somewhere really remote? Question. Well, honestly, in the UK, I've never really been anywhere that remote. Even places that feel and look completely in the middle of nowhere in my videos usually tend to have a village or a petrol station not too far away. So realistically, it's probably not quite the survival situation people imagine. It's just mildly inconvenient. Right, note to self, when filling up with diesel while also attempting to film, do at some point put the cap back on, because for reasons that remain unclear, I am apparently incapable of doing two very simple things at once, and it only happens when I'm filming, never otherwise. Just introduce a camera and all basic competence quietly disappears, and now look, there it is, look, literally just sitting there, in plain sight. Just pick it up, Josie, come on, pick it up, please, please, please. Okay, nope, gonna have to get that back tomorrow. Great. And on the waterfront, if in doubt, you can always just buy bottled water. Not ideal, no, but it does mean I can, at the very least, make a cup of tea now. From that leap alone, you would never in a million years guess I was a professional dancer, would you? Brilliant. We found a quiet little spot nestled in the Yorkshire countryside, which sounds lovely and is not entirely accurate, because in reality we're actually right next to a rather loud road. Let me just present the situation more honestly. Hang on. Yes, there it is. And that, I'm afraid, is sometimes the reality of van life. You find a beautiful spot and then you realise it comes with traffic.
My mom to that all-time show. I asked her, please, mother, can I have a popsicle? She said, honey, you're a sweetie, you're my chocolate cake. I'll get you one later, we're gonna be late. Here's a cucumber shake.
Little Win-Win, hello darling, Winnie. You're gonna sleep on my lap. Right, so now we've got tea made. I actually thought I should do a bit of work, and I thought, as this is just generally speaking my day-to-day life, I thought I would share my setup. So I have a laptop and I have this like drawing pad thing. Oh gosh, sorry Win. Drawing pad thing that I do my animations on and my titles and stuff like that. Filming wise, I actually just film on my phone. And I have a drone in here. When I'm parked somewhere really remote, I usually work from inside the CottageCore bus. But if I happen to be near a town, I do quite like popping into a local cafe to work for a few hours. Partly because it's nice to support local businesses, you know, when you're traveling through, which is one of the nicer parts of working remotely, I would say. And actually, working remotely on the road is why Surfshark VPN ended up sponsoring today's video. Because the reality is, when you work and live on the road like this, you end up using a huge amount of public Wi-Fi from cafes, campsites, random places on the road. And that is the perfect place for a hacker to try and steal your information. So that is why I use Surfshark VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and essentially it just gives you a more private and secure connection when you're online. Using Surfshark is a bit like kind of locking your front door. Obviously you hope nothing bad will happen anyway, but it's probably better to not leave everything completely exposed and just hope for the best. It also allows you to change your location and country, which means you can access different things from different places, which I really like that as a perk. And I'll admit, before doing van life full time, I actually never really thought twice about connecting to public networks and Wi-Fi's, which now feels slightly irresponsible because so much of my life happens online now. Work, banking, emails, editing, uploading videos. Basically, my entire livelihood exists somewhere between my laptop and very questionable Wi-Fi. So if you're like me and you travel a lot, or you work remotely, or honestly you just spend a large proportion of your life online like I do, I'll leave all the information below for you. Just go to surfshark.com/busoffwithjosie or use code busoffwithjosie at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring this part of the video. And then it started raining, which naturally led to this. While I was working, of course,
So, after a quick nap from Mum and Winnie, we had to find somewhere to empty the loo and do some laundry. So off we go.
We've actually found like a really good spot, which is kind of in the countryside. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear the birds. It's lovely. But walkable distance to town. That is an ideal spot. I actually think we'll be able to sleep here tonight as well. There's also a swimming pool in town, which means that Mum's actually just gone to have a little wash, as my shower is out of order at the moment. Winnie is patiently looking out for Mum because Mum's a favourite, actually. She's not my dog. Winnie, you don't love me as much as you love Mum, do you? Winnie. Winnie. I guess Winnie is Mum's dog. After all, I come second best. Winnie. Winnie. Oh, you love me too, don't you? First job on the to-do list is washing the bed sheets. That's what we're doing, Winnie.
Laundry is actually pretty much the same as everyone else's, just considerably more compact, which means there's a fair amount of clambering involved. And yes, for those of you who have been asking how I do my laundry, this is it, a laundrette. I know, deeply underwhelming. I did consider coming up with something far more interesting, perhaps involving Winnie, or some sort of ingenious off-grid system, but no, this is where we've landed. Not glamorous, but it gets the job done. On the theme of unglamorous jobs, it's time to empty my toilet. How you empty my compost loo. Aren't you pleased I've shared that with you? Now, obviously, amongst all of this, Winnie has been walked several times, but I'm not counting that as a chore. That is the enjoyable bit. And judging by her sleepy state here, I would say, job done. And then, after all of that, you do eventually get to this bit, which is the part I guess I generally show. The cosy evening, the warm lights, dinner, cards, all very wholesome. And what I don't always show is, I guess, everything it took to get here. But in fairness, it does make it feel slightly more deserved, though we still have the washing up to do. And then bedtime. With the fire on, you can settle down. Winnie takes the bed, naturally. I take the sofa, also naturally. And even without an epic view or an exotic travel day, van life is still totally worth it. Regardless of how long the chores take.